the big question is warrior names. Where does that come in? How does that work, right? Because people want to know that. I'm going to read a little bit from, again, the Tomoru Shoden Namaki. I'm going to read an excerpt from that. And then from there, I'm going to give you guys the meaning of that and how that pertains to the martial arts, okay? So the Mushomyo, which is basically a warrior name, many times in the present day, when the student achieves mastery, they're awarded a warrior name. So I want to start out by saying you don't get a warrior name until you hit the level of master. So once you become a master, you get a warrior name. So in classical Japanese martial arts, that's 5th Dan, okay? This is supposed to be the Buddhika's greatest strength and weakness in one simple name, to achieve such a paradox of in-yo, yet still deliver a complete and honest description of you as a person and a warrior, your greatest strengths and weaknesses, as well as the complete embodiment of your personality within your mind, body, and spirit must be realized. Only a master of the arts that knows you and has looked inside your heart can do such an honor. So basically, your warrior name, let's say when you get, like, you guys know that my warrior name is Anshu. My title is Soke, right? So Soke is, you know, grandmaster, head of the house, headmistress, head of the school, head of the ryuha. So title Soke, warrior name Anshu. I do think that it's important to kind of take a footnote here real quick. People, a lot of people in the ninjutsu community, you guys, there's also a name called An-shu Stephen Hayes, and we don't have the same thing. For one, An-shu Stephen Hayes, Anshu is his title, right? He doesn't go by a warrior name. Anshu in his martial art is a title. My title is Soke, right? I do believe he probably was awarded a warrior name. Don't know what it is. Irrelevant. The relevant part of this is that you got a lot of people see An-shu Stephen Hayes, An-shu Christa Jacobson. The An-shus are not the same. Phonetically the same thing. His An-shu means like the enlightened one, right? Or one being enlightened, or something along those lines. Something to do with enlightenment, right? And that is so far from what mine is. It's not even on the same, absolutely not, okay? So if you look at the kanji, his kanji, and you read the kanji, it says Anshu, but An-shu Stephen Hayes, the kanji for his Anshu means enlightened one, or something along those lines. Then you have Anshu, or Christa Jacobson, but Anshu means dark master. Like An is dark, Shu, master. They're not the same thing. Even though people who don't speak Japanese, don't read and write Japanese, don't understand Japanese, they look at the word written in English, they think An-shu Stephen Hayes is the same title as An-shu Christa Jacobson. Absolutely not. My An-shu, his An-shu are not the same kanji. It is not the same meaning. The only people who think that don't know Japanese, can't read and write Japanese, and they're obviously too ignorant to ask. Oh, they wouldn't be making those statements. Okay? So I want to throw that out there in front of the camera because I want to draw that line that my warrior name is not the same as his title. Getting back on it, once you reach 5th Dan Master, you get a warrior name. And just as I read this to you, the warrior name is supposed to embody your biggest strength and your biggest weakness. So the people around you know you as Anshu. Soke Anshu, title, name, right? So Soke Anshu, that holds weight. Soke is the Grand Master, and Anshu, right, is the warrior name. And they get that feeling of the word, the name that I go by, and the title. And that gives this illusion. But the people that know the background of that see that Anshu as something different. Like your master. Because they know your biggest weaknesses. They know those things. And it's almost like they're trying to give you a name where but you deserve the level of mastery. But they also want you to be aware of those weaknesses, that you can always make sure that it keeps you humble. Right? Through my journey, it's much different than many other people. Right? As a transgender woman, I mean, I don't think that there's any secret that, you know, you have to go through some dark times in your life to be able to overcome certain things, to do certain things, to achieve certain things, right? And a lot of that has to do with that. A lot of that has to do with the esoteric side that I go through. You know, so it has the name An-shu, the literal translation is Dark Master. Yep. But that shouldn't be compared. The An-shu, the An-shu title, or excuse me, the An-shu warrior name that I have should not in any way be compared to An-shu Stephen K's title. They're not the same thing. Okay. But also, An-shu, my warrior name, Dark Master, shouldn't be kind of looked at in the sense of Darth Vader either. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's it, because Japanese martial arts tend to have an in and a yo, right? So even though I am very dark, when you look at the in and yo, you see the light side of things and the dark side of things. I am extremely, what I do and what I exude is on the dark side. Constantly. Look at the way I teach, the way I talk is extreme. The way I come off is extreme. It's not light and fluffy. It's just generally not. You catch on the way I teach is a certain way. Most people think when you do magic and the esoteric stuff, that's the dark arts. You know, people see ninjutsu as opposed to samurai bujutsu. That's the dark arts. You know, when you look at the way Japanese see men and women on the, you know, yin and yang. So you yin and yang. The white side is man or masculine. The dark side, yeah, the darkness, that's woman or feminine. So that also plays a role into that, right? So the meaning of An-shu, my warrior name, is deep for many things. It's not just a simple explanation. And when you guys, if any of you guys ever hit master, you're going to get one too, right? Because you deserve that. So that's why you see in Japanese history, these people change their names constantly because they're getting something that means something a little bit different, you know? Now that doesn't, I want to say this, does that mean like when I received the warrior name An-shu, right? I received the warrior name An-shu when I became a master of the arts, 5th Danish. I received Soke when I became the Grand Master, the next Soke in. So I was An-shu way before I was Soke. You catch what I'm saying? Right, same thing. You guys would be, like an example, someone might be 5th Dan. Let's go back to Mr. Bob, right? So Mr. Bob hits 5th Dan, and Mr. Bob might get a new title of Kyoshi. And let's say his warrior name is Goldfish. Right? The ability to live life with nothing and be happy. Yeah, that's Goldfish, I guess. I don't know, right? So let's just say his warrior name is Goldfish for the lack of this. So at that point, he would be Kyoshi Goldfish. Right? I don't even know how I came up with Goldfish. That's the first thing that popped in my head. You know what I mean? It's just, but it is what it is. You catch what I'm saying? But and the reason that's important, that warrior name is important, because we've already talked about the nine Rin Pyo To Shakai Jin Retsu Zai Zen, and I need the gods are going to protect me when I go do something, you know. And then you got the nine syllables of Shikanara Bisai Komyo, right? So I'm in this moment, I'm going to make myself better, and blah blah blah. You know, Superman is not Superman until you see the S. Wonder Woman ain't Wonder Woman until here comes the outfit, and you know what I mean. Batman ain't Batman until here comes the mask and the cape. Now, can Clark Kent do what Superman does? Yeah. But Clark Kent is a goddamn news reporter, right? Something like that. You know, what I don't even remember what Wonder Woman's name is. What's her name in the series? What's her real name in the... Diana something, yeah. And she works for something, I assume, right? You know, but when they change their clothes, they become this super human, this super hero, right? Same thing in Japanese martial arts, same idea, right? So in Japanese martial arts, historically, you see, we know Tokugawa Ieyasu was the one who unified Japan. His name when he was born was not Tokugawa Ieyasu. It changed. How do you maintain that tradition of being able to change your name when you do something great? Well, in Japanese martial arts, Koryu, you adapt that. Is it the same meaning? No, hopefully you guys aren't going to be warlords or try to take over countries, right? So no, they don't have quite the same meaning. But there's an essence of why they did it. You do something great, you're known for something different. Because your martial arts, if you receive mastery, should be something above and beyond the normal person. Superman is above Clark Kent. Batman is above Bruce Wayne. Yeah? Wonder Woman is better than Diana whatever. right? So An-shu, this, again, that's my warrior name. And again, separate An-shu Stephen Hayes. An-shu is a title for him. An-shu is my warrior name. Different kanji, different meaning. An-shu. That puts here. An-shu is better than Christa Jacobson. Right? So when you guys put on the gi, you put on your uniform, it's got the patch over your heart. One patch. Yeah? You bow in. Shikinara Mitsudai Komyo. Now you're giving yourself to something. And now, you're not that. You're not Christa Jacobson. You're An-shu. You have to be better. You have to strive to live up to that warrior title. You catch what I mean? We do it in military, has titles. Different jobs have titles. You have to live up to that title and the name that you create. Yeah? And sometimes people are so great, that's what they're known for. Coming back to Tomoru. The Tomoru is slightly different when awarding warrior names, as they do not issue a warrior name like Hidden Dragon, or in our example, Goldfish. In fact, they don't use animals at all, which is already completely different than most schools. Most schools tend to use warrior names like the White Dragon, the Golden Dragon, the Black Raven. They tend to throw in animals, you know, like I don't know, the Lone Wolf, the, barking dog, I don't know. They usually have some sort of animal along with it. That is very normal, okay? And even though I'm kind of poking fun at that, I'm not meaning to be disrespectful. I'm just trying to come up with shit to relate to you guys so you understand the lesson. The majority of Japanese martial arts uses animals and some sort of color or some sort of manifestation to express the individual's character of that warrior name. Does it make sense? I'm just going to go back that last sentence one more time and then I'm going to finish it out. The Tomoru is slightly different when awarding warrior names, as they do not issue a warrior name like Hidden Dragon. In fact, they don't use animals at all, which is already completely different from most schools. They use effects of natural phenomena, which directly comes from the Godai, earth, wind, water, fire, and void, or the essence of the Tenchi Jin, heaven, earth, and man, to poetically describe all areas of mind, body, and spirit to the top practitioners of the Ryu. It is more of a poetic statement to reflect the person's personality in all areas of life, rather than the actual warrior name. This method of poetic expression within the Tomo family dates all the way back to Otomo, and these poetic names are also used when signing Minkyo within the school. Okay? So, the reason I want to make sure we're clear on that last statement, these warrior names are also used when signing Minkyo within the school. When you guys get a certificate from me, all the way to one side, you see An-shu. An-shu, dark, master, and then Shmai Hanka, right? A lot of times people have taken, like when people have made this ridiculous statement about some of my certificates and it was not saying with the person's name, it's because you have what's called Tenchi. That means like the reflections of heaven, or heaven's reflections. Yep. And that's the warrior name of Kobayashi Sensei. So he signs his warrior name on the Minkyo. So all the way to the far left, you see that. You don't see Ichiro Kobayashi as it's handwritten out. Do you catch what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But that's no different than you guys looking at the certificate I give you. I signed it as An-shu. Sometimes I sign Soke An-shu, but it's going to be Soke An-shu or An-shu. Generally, if you guys are, for the ones who are like the Q ranks, it's just An-shu and then sign. You know what I mean? And so I think it's important that people understand what the warrior names mean, how you get them, and why is it such an important and integral aspect to the martial arts, because it states growth. It states growth. Yeah? And just like many other things, when we talked earlier, we talked about commitment. It brings that level of commitment into the Ryu. Right? So like, we used an analogy earlier with marriage. Like when generally when a woman marries into a family, she changes her last name and becomes into that family. Right? So again, name change now is accepted into a certain family. It's not far-fetched in the Japanese martial arts where it's like, okay, now you're accepted into the family. Now you're part of the warrior family. Titles aren't the same as warrior names. You get titles to separate you from the average in the group. Titles come when you hit master. And once you get that one, that doesn't change. That would replace your name in the organization. Does that make sense? That's kind of not the most professional way of me explaining the warrior names, but hopefully you guys understood where I'm coming from with that, right?